This will make engines run like new. Engines don't die suddenly. They fade, quietly, but not if you know what to do. Today, I'm telling you some insane little tricks and products that can literally make your engine feel brand new again. But if you click away now, don't be surprised if your engine starts coughing up its last breath sooner than you thought. Let's start with something most tutorials overlook, a complete fuel system detox. Think of your fuel system as the bloodstream of your vehicle. Over time, it accumulates contaminants, varnish, and carbon deposits that can choke your engine's performance. Ever wonder why your car feels less responsive even though everything looks clean under the hood? Your fuel injectors are likely gunked up with carbon deposits. These microscopic deposits can reduce fuel spray efficiency by up to 30%, creating uneven combustion and robbing you of power and fuel economy. But did you know that a high-quality fuel system cleaner can restore up to 99% of your injector's original spray pattern? That's right, and you don't need the expensive stuff mechanics push. What you're looking for is a cleaner with PEA, polyetheramine, the gold standard for carbon deposit removal. Brands like Techron, Redline, or BG44K contain high concentrations of PEA and are worth every penny. Add it to your tank when it's about a quarter full, then fill up and drive normally. The cleaner works as you drive, gradually dissolving those stubborn deposits. But here's a pro tip most tutorials won't tell you. For severe carbon buildup, run the cleaner through twice in half doses, 2 tanks apart. This gradual approach prevents the sudden release of large carbon chunks that could potentially clog fuel filters. Now, what about older vehicles with carburetors? Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you classic car fans. For carbureted engines, a good seafoam treatment through the vacuum lines can work wonders. Just make sure to follow the correct dilution ratios. Too concentrated and you risk hydro-locking your engine. Just like how you'd perform poorly if you had to breathe through a straw, your engine suffers when its air intake system is compromised. Let's transform that restricted airflow into the full, deep breaths your engine craves. Starting with the most overlooked component, the MAF sensor. This little device determines how much fuel your engine receives based on incoming air. When dirty, it misreads airflow by up to 15 to 20%, causing your engine to run either too rich or too lean. Have you ever noticed your idle becoming erratic after cleaning the throttle body? That's because you disturbed the MAF sensor without properly cleaning it. Here's the right way. Disconnect your battery first. Yes, this is crucial. It resets the adaptive memory. Remove the sensor carefully and use only MAF-specific cleaner. Anything else, even brake cleaner, can damage the sensitive wire elements. Hold the sensor by its housing, never touch the wires, and spray in short bursts, allowing the cleaner to drip away from the connector. Let it dry completely before reinstallation, which usually takes about 15 minutes. What about the throttle body? This is where incoming air gets regulated, and carbon buildup here can cause rough idle and hesitation. But, and this is important, when cleaning the throttle body, never force the throttle plate open manually. This can damage the calibration settings. Instead, use your key to cycle the ignition on without starting the engine. In most cars, this runs the electronic system through a diagnostic cycle that fully opens the throttle plate. Now, you can safely clean with throttle body cleaner and a soft brush. Oh, and before we move on to the next game changer, if you're finding value in these insider tips, smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It helps more frustrated car owners find these solutions. And I promise, the next section is going to blow your mind with a technique that mechanics charge $150 for. Low compression is often the hidden culprit behind sluggish performance, and most people think it means a costly engine rebuild. But did you know you can often restore compression without opening up your engine? Let me intrigue you to the marvel of modern chemistry: engine oil treatments with ring-freeing compounds. As engines age, piston rings can become stuck in their grooves due to carbon buildup, preventing them from sealing properly against cylinder walls. This leads to compression loss, oil burning, and reduced power. Products like Rizlone Ring Seal or Marvel Mystery Oil contain solvents that gradually dissolve these carbon deposits, allowing rings to expand properly and restore cylinder compression. But there's a technique to doing this right. First, is your engine a good candidate for this treatment? If you're losing compression due to stuck rings rather than mechanical damage, you'll notice these symptoms: blue-gray exhaust smoke that's worse on startup, gradually improving fuel economy as you drive, and an engine that seems to wake up after extended highway driving. The highway symptom is your biggest clue. At sustained higher RPMs, your engine heats up more uniformly, allowing the rings to expand and temporarily seal better. If you notice this pattern, you're a perfect candidate for a ring-freeing treatment. Here's the protocol. Add the treatment to fresh oil during an oil change. Then take your car for a 30-minute drive that includes varied RPMs. I'm talking about gentle acceleration to highway speeds, maintaining steady cruising. Then engine braking, not riding your brakes, to slow down. Repeat this cycle several times. The varied RPMs help distribute the treatment throughout the ring pack, while the temperature changes help the rings expand and contract, working the treatment deeper into the deposits. For severely gunked engines, consider this intensive therapy. After your oil change with treatment, drive normally for 100 miles, then perform another oil change with fresh treatment. This double treatment approach can make a spectacular difference in compression recovery. Now let's talk about something that's often neglected in engine revival discussions: the electrical system. Sure, everyone knows to change spark plugs, but there's so much more to it than that. Have you ever replaced your ignition coils only to find minimal improvement? Modern coils are incredibly sensitive to voltage fluctuations. In fact, a mere half-volt drop in system voltage can reduce spark energy by up to 40%. Let's start with the heart of your electrical system, the grounds. Over time, ground connections develop resistance through corrosion, loosening, or contamination. This creates a cascade effect: reduced voltage to ignition components, weaker spark, incomplete combustion, and finally, reduced power and efficiency. Here's my ground restoration protocol. Locate all engine and chassis grounds. Check your service manual for locations. Remove each connection, sand both the connector and the mounting surface to bright metal. Apply dielectric grease and reinstall with proper torque. This simple procedure often delivers immediate noticeable improvements in throttle response. Next up, voltage drop testing. The diagnostic technique mechanics don't want you to know about. Using a basic multimeter set to DC volts, test the voltage between your battery positive and the positive terminal of your ignition coils, while a helper cranks the engine. Ideally, you should see less than a half-volt drop. If it's higher, you've found a hidden power robber that's been hampering your engine's performance. And what about those ignition coils? If your vehicle is over 60,000 miles and still has original coils, they're likely operating at reduced capacity. Modern coils degrade gradually. You won't notice the day-to-day difference, but compared to new ones, they could be delivering 15 to 20% less spark energy. When replacing coils, apply a thin coat of dielectric grease inside the spark plug boots before installation. This prevents moisture intrusion and ensures maximum energy transfer from coil to plug. Alright, moving on. Think of your engine's vacuum system as a closed-circuit pneumatic computer. Any leaks in this system can throw off multiple sensors, causing your ECU to make incorrect fueling and timing decisions. A common symptom of vacuum leaks is an engine that idles higher than normal but actually loses power under load. Sound familiar? That's because the extra air entering through leaks is measured at idle, allowing the ECU to compensate. But under load, these small leaks create proportionally less disruption, which the ECU might miss. To check for vacuum leaks, you don't need expensive smoke machines. Here's my DIY approach. With the engine warm and idling, spray small amounts of carb cleaner around vacuum connections and gasket edges. If the engine momentarily speeds up when you spray a particular area, you've found your leak. Focus particularly on the PVC system component, intake manifold gaskets, and brake booster connections. These are common failure points that mechanics often overlook during routine service. For a more thorough test, disconnect and plug vacuum lines one by one, noting idle changes. A properly sealed vacuum system will cause the idle to drop slightly when major vacuum consumers like the brake booster are disconnected. Lastly, if you're concerned about why your engine runs hotter than it used to, or why your heater doesn't get as warm, maybe your cooling system is suffering from internal scaling, a buildup of minerals and corrosion that acts like plaque in an artery. Over time, these deposits reduce cooling efficiency by up to 40%, forcing your engine to run hotter and work harder. You get accelerated wear, reduced power, and poor fuel economy. Standard coolant exchanges only replace about 60% of your coolant. For true rejuvenation, you need a complete flush with a descaling agent. Here's how to do it properly. With the engine cold, drain the radiator and block separately. Yes, there are often different drain points. Then fill the system with distilled water and a quality radiator flush product. Run the engine with the heater on high until it reaches normal operating temperature. Then let it cool completely. Repeat the drain process, then refill with the correct coolant mixture for your vehicle. After refilling, use a vacuum fill tool to eliminate air pockets. This is a pro tip from me. These air pockets can cause hot spots in your engine and throw off temperature sensor readings. Most people skip this step, but it's critical for maximum cooling efficiency. Congratulations! If you followed along with all these steps, you've essentially given your engine a comprehensive rejuvenation that rivals anything a professional could do, and at a fraction of the cost. What's the best product or habit that's actually saved your engine before? Did I miss something that you think belongs on the list? Drop your wisdom in the comments and I'll pin the best one. Before you go, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want more, click on our other videos. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching.